Welcome back to our channel. So today we'll be in the kitchen. We're going to knead it into a dough, and that's going to cause the gluten to bind within the flour, and then we're going to wash it out, and that's what we're basically extracting. We're extracting the gluten from the whole wheat flour. And we're going to basically washing away all of the starch out of it and washing until basically have just the gluten alone that is left. Okay, so now I'll be adding the water to our flour, and we have to knead this into a very, very firm dough. The firmer, the better. And the more we knead it, is the more the gluten will bind together.
And there are some common misconceptions about gluten, and it's the fact that some persons think that gluten is bad for everyone, and that is so not true. If you are not gluten intolerant, if you're not sensitive to gluten, if you do not have celiac disease, this is where your body cannot break down the gluten, then gluten is fine for you. If you're sensitive to gluten, then it means that once you have anything with gluten, then you will basically have symptoms of celiac disease. It doesn't mean that you have celiac disease. Right? So this is an autoimmune disease, and we cannot self-diagnose or say, oh, I had something with gluten, so I have celiac disease. No. It probably just means that you are sensitive to gluten.
Okay guys, so at this point, the flour is well incorporated. It's the water right now. You bind together more so that when you're washing it out, we don't have it falling apart so much. It will still fall apart, but it'll fall apart a little bit less. It'll hold together a little bit more when you allow it to sit. So we've allowed it to sit for maybe around half an hour now. You can let it sit for longer, even half a day if necessary. And now we're going to wash it out. Okay guys, so now we're gonna get to washing. So we're just gonna take a piece. I usually use a bowl with a colander. It's a little bit easier. You can start with a piece, and then you can just basically wash it out. The colander is basically gonna ensure that the gluten pieces actually don't fall out into the water, because the colander will basically catch it or use a strainer. But this one is stainless steel, so it makes it easier. So basically just squeeze it together and just wash all the starch out. And more than likely you will have to do multiple washes, because washing the starch out is not very, very easy. Okay guys, so as you can see, the gluten is forming already. It's not like a regular dough anymore. You can see those fibers that are forming within the dough. And all of this is starch. And you can see all the bran that is inside as well. So that's all of what we're washing. We're washing out the bran and we're washing out the starch. Butter, and we go again. A good indication of when it is that you are finished washing is when the water is no longer turning white. So as you can see, the water here is not as white as it was on the first wash. And you'll also notice that the dough, or would you say the gluten, is getting a lot more firmer, because as more starch comes out and as more bran comes out, the gluten will get firmer and firmer. As you can see, it doesn't pull apart as easily as before. You basically turn it in, turn it out. You're trying to wash everything out, because the starch easily washes out, but because we're using whole wheat flour, the bran literally will stay trapped within the fibers. So we have to basically tear it apart to get all of that bran washed out. Okay. This one is almost pretty much done. As you can see, we're having some nice fibers forming, and I'm putting a good amount of pressure on this. So that's our very first piece of gluten that we have here. Right, so we'll try to see if we can wash out the rest because we have one entire bowl left. That was probably just a handful of dough.
So another misconception about gluten is that it is only found in bread and pasta, and that is not true. Yes, those are the two main byproducts of flour. It is in a lot of the sauces and the salad dressings that we have a lot. Most persons, they use the gluten for flavoring. People generally think that once a product is gluten free, then it is healthier for you. But that is not necessarily true because gluten has a lot of flavor. And when there is not any gluten in the product, what they do is add a lot of salt and sugar to get that flavoring. So it's highly processed.
Okay guys, so we are basically finished washing out now. So as you can see, this is what we've gotten. If I put it all together, this is the amount that I got. I mean, it's a good piece. This can serve for a couple of days. We usually do a lot more, but for the video today, we'll just do this amount. But you can see in comparison, we had this bowl full. And if you look at it now, that's what we really have left. So that's what I said. You have to ensure that if you want a lot, use a lot of flour to begin with. But flour is relatively cheap, so it shouldn't be much of a trouble to get such a delicious vegetarian staple like this one. Just basically tear it open. As you can see, you want it to be as clean as possible. See? This time I'll give it a little bit on a running water. So if anything is in there that needs to come out, it will come out. It's now time to boil. So boiling is going to actually firm the gluten even more, and it's also going to add flavor. So we're going to add some hot pepper, Scotch bonnet pepper. We're going to add some rosemary. We're going to add some onions, and we're also going to add a little bit of thyme. This is the velvet leaf thyme, otherwise known as French thyme, and also some salt. Yes, we cannot forget the salt. That's actually going to add more flavor than most of the ingredients we just added. And we're also adding some all-purpose seasoning. So right now, Candice is actually, I'm gonna add some scallion. Okay, so guys, now we're at a rolling boil. Just gonna add our gluten to it. Guys, we're gonna boil it until it is firm. So we're gonna try putting a fork in it, and if the fork is, having a little bit of resistance, then we know that it's ready. But we shouldn't have that gumminess anymore. We should just have a sort of meaty texture to it. Hey guys, so we've boiled it for maybe around 45 minutes, as we said, maybe a little bit more, until the water is basically reduced.
Hey guys, so this is the gluten. I usually fry it and use a sweet and sour sauce or a barbecue sauce. Look at that. There is a meaty texture. Can I get 4, babe? Or 3 is good?
3 is good. Okay guys, so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and to continue following us on our baking and cooking adventures.
And don't forget to watch our vegetarian journey video.